Oh, hey, everybody. So I wanted to just do a quick review of what's going on in the world of cryptocurrency today. Not necessarily the world, but specifically for trading. So I do training on this sort of thing. And what you're seeing here, in fact, let me get rid of that logo up in the corner because it's kind of messing things up. There we go. Let me make this big. And I'm just gonna walk through the chart and we're gonna look at Ethereum today. All right, let me see. Can I one of my theories is so there's different types of trading styles depending on where you are in life. Are you building wealth? Are you starting from zero? You got money that you got to manage? Are you a hedge fund person? What's your tax status? Are you working are you working inside of a tax exempt entity like a Roth IRA? Do you have that set up? It's expensive. It's a pain in the butt to set up and to manage, but you can trade inside that if, at least so far rights haven't been totally removed there. Um, you know, there's a lot of questions, and that's an individual thing between you and a financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor. I train and share what I know and what I've learned type of thing. And, anyway, I should probably throw up a disclaimer while I bring up another little thing to look at, which would be our global market cap. So let me bring that up, and while that's going on, I'm gonna throw up my disclaimer here. All right, welcome back. So, what's going on? Let's see if can we zoom in on here? Let's just do the last. Can we just do the last year? No, it's just the year to date, all of it. Won't let me zoom in. Let's just take a look at this. All right, so this is well, this is not year to date. The year to date is just this little segment over here. Can we zoom in on this? No, maybe. All right, so one of the things I look at and I listen to each day is, up here we see, I don't know if you can see it. We have this global market cap, right? And so what happens is whenever there's a bull run, it increases, money goes in. And at one point, we were up to, what was it up here? We were just around $3 trillion. And then we kind of dipped down to under a trillion, right? And then, we've been slowly going up. And I don't know if you can see it. Can I zoom in on this? No. Can I? No, it's just a mess. All right, I got to play with the charts a little bit more. But the thing is we're above $1 trillion. And when money comes in, right, it's usually to Bitcoin and Ethereum type stuff. Everything it's like the prices rise. And then when people pull money out because they're scared, right now we've got a lot of institutional investors moving money in, pulling money out, moving money in, pulling money out. And it's kind of like a wave comes in, a wave comes out. And then, are the markets manipulated? Yeah, all these markets are manipulated. Stock markets, all of it is. So don't be naive about that, right? Let me get rid of this. So that's another thing that I keep an eye on. So I just wanted to let me get rid of that. Let me just bring the chart back up here. Turn it back on. So I just wanted to talk about it. And I need to start getting in a habit of talking about it. I'm creating content about my training style I've been developing over the last 2 years, and right now I'm currently obsessed with bots. I go through these periods where I'm obsessed with different things, and I'm very excited to have access to 200x leverage. I haven't taken it out for a test drive yet, but it's complicated because as a U.S. citizen, technically I'm not allowed, and I really despise that. I despise being a US citizen and being not allowed, but other people have more freedoms than I do, and, being a US citizen, the concept of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is kind of like in our DNA when we're born on this land, and it's just like we're restricted for reasons by people who probably are using flip phones and don't even know how to use email properly, telling us what to do. and they're already rich because they probably participated in some kind of rigged something that they got in on. Just, I'm a conspiracy theorist too, to a certain extent, right? But, I just, it's just kind of bizarre what we're not able to do as US citizens. However, be that as it may, it's a game, right? So we have to play the game, that the hand that we're dealt. So I will continue to educate folks on, hey, write your people, use resist bot, write your everybody and say, hey, why am I discriminated against based on my financial status? Why can't I participate in things? And they're going to say, well, it's to protect you. It's like, no, no, your job to protect me is to prosecute criminals and fraud, not to tell me what to do with my money, not to tell me where I can and can't invest. I get we have sanctions against Russia. I mean, when Russia's ruble tanked, I was looking to see where I could buy some because there was an opportunity, but I get why we weren't allowed to do that. And the Venezuela had their petro coin and, because of our national security interests, I mean, protecting the interests of already wealthy people, we can't participate in that. And I can get that for a certain amount of things, but why can't I be on Binance? I used to be able to be on Binance. Oh, well, suddenly they need to be regulated. Okay, well, that's cool. Develop regulation. But, I was an early adopter, as were a lot of Americans. And we were learning about things and we were learning how to trade. And suddenly, you know, we didn't have access to leverage anymore without doing certain things that are just, having to circumvent. And we shouldn't have to circumvent as US citizens. We just shouldn't have to. Well, crime. Well, yeah, we'll fight crime, but don't restrict my rights. If I'm a criminal, come after me, right? Investigate me. But don't restrict my rights because someone else is being an idiot out there in the world. Do your job, right? You're not going to end the war on drugs that's never going to stop until you eliminate the market for drugs, right? Yeah. Just, read or listen to the audiobook. Was it Narconomics, How to Become a Drug Lord? Some really good information out there. So, what am I doing? So I've been doing some broadcasts on my new YouTube channel. It's on YouTube. In fact, I think this is only being broadcast to that channel right now. There's absolutely nobody. I think there's 3 people that have found the channel. And what I'm doing is I'm getting into a rhythm and I'm, experimenting with the different ways of producing content. And I want to actually create some formal training. And what's happening is the markets change. And as the markets change, the training and how to approach the market changes. I like solving problems. I like adjusting. I like adapting. So it's like by the time I get a nice formal training created, it's usually out of date. And that's been kind of driving me crazy for the last couple of years. Then I had COVID a year ago, and then I've been dealing with I'm all excited about stuff and then I forget about it after I wake up the next day and it's like, what was I working on yesterday? And it's just kind of bizarre. It reminds me of a book, which I'll throw out there called, there goes my memory, Lessons from the Pit. It's about a commodities trader that was this dyslexic. He couldn't do math in his head, but to be a floor trader, you almost had to. And he became a top floor trader. It was a really great story. But the big point of the book was you manage your weaknesses and you live in your strengths. So, one of my strengths is strategy and solving problems. And anyway, so I am really excited. Like I'm doing a bot test. So, why am I doing a bot test? Well, right now there's a bot running and it's been scalping. See the stuff going on the last few days? All this, right? It was up here, things dipped down, and I was expecting it to keep going up. Don't ask me why. Optimism usually bites me. And instead, the market kind of went down. But while I was going down and doing this, right, up and down stuff, right, this little bot, 24 by 7, has been scalping profits. It's kind of cool, huh? I think it's kind of cool. Now, if I'm, let me bring up a different screen here. If I'm working over in this world, let me just maximize this. So what you're seeing happening over here is what's going on in a 5-second cycle. and over here is 15 seconds, and over here is 15 minutes. So, if I want to get in and out of a trade in like 1 to 3 minutes, I'm looking at, well, what's going on? Well, during the next 15 minutes, things are pushing down. So what does that tell me? Well, I should wait, right? And I have a spreadsheet. So, when I look between down here, this looks really dramatic, 1640, and this high up here, 64, it's a $2 movement. Okay. So, this is across, a couple minutes, right? So you can't really make money on a $2 movement unless you're using leverage, right? That's my big beef with my government is they don't want me to have access to leverage because this is happening all the time, right? Let me bring up a different chart. So over here, this over here, when I'm doing active trading, I live over here after reviewing what's over here. In fact, let me do this. I start here to get a feel for what's going on, right? What's the bigger trend, right? And every once in a while, everything's going in the same direction, and you can make money like a bandit. Out of thin air, literally, I proved that last year. You can trade without losses too if you know what you're doing, if you have a plan for that. So this is kind of like this is a 5-minute chart. This is a 3-minute chart. This is a 1-minute chart. And we just saw the 15-minute chart, things are pushing down, but here in the 5-minute, things are it's bottomed out and reversing, right? But the bigger trend right now is pushing down. But let's take a look at this. We dipped down to 1640. I like to look at like what's the lower Bollinger Band, let's say around here, 1640, and the middle Bollinger Band is for a $3 movement. So that's, a 1% movement, right? So we're at let's take a look at this. Sorry to bore you. Don't mean to bore you, but we're at 1642 right now, right? Um, so a 1% movement is a $16.42 movement. And on a 1% movement with 100x leverage, you can double your money. Yeah. So what would that look like? We'd have to see. So when the markets are hot, right? We'd see this like 1640 to 1700 happening, a $50 just within minutes type of things, some cool volatility happening. When that's happening and the markets are hot, you can just come in here and if with just a little bit of guidance, it's almost so easy to make money it becomes boring. But the markets right now are subjected to big money moving in and out, and those are like gigantic aircraft carriers of money slowly moving in and slowly moving out. And then there's some kind of news things hits or someone does something crazy in the world, and then we have these massive spikes. So 1% movement is well, if I want to make 3%, right? Let's see, or 30%. I need a $5 movement to make 30%. So I'm going from a low of, let's see, this is 5 seconds, 42 to 43. So it's a dollar movement, and then it's like what? It'd take a whole minute to do this. Um, from down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is like 15 minutes right here, right? And this is my 5-minute 42. So we've gone from 40 a $3 movement in 15 minutes. And that's kind of how I look at things. It's like, well, when I'm trading with 100x leverage or 200x leverage, I want to be in and out in less than 3 minutes. And right now, the market's just not moving interesting enough. I mean, I could scalp 5% or 10% all day long, but I've scalped 600% and 50%. In fact, my goal is usually 33%. And when things are kind of in a little bit of a bull run, I mean, literally, I can't not make 50% per trade. And I know that sounds absurd, right? Right, because we're talking about, what's your CD rates and, and all this other sort of stuff. Well, those highly regulated things that allegedly have no risk in them, that just are, I think, are highly risk taking, because you're actually losing money by just holding them with the cost of inflation and stuff. And that gets complicated. But I'm like, I just want to double my money, right? Have I shown my little doubling thing? There's some previous posts I've made. Let me see if I can bring that up. In fact, while I bring that up, let me share with you some of the affirmations for trading. I know I'm just rambling on here. I just want to come on and just get used to doing this again. So I'm going to just play this. Well, that didn't take long. Oh, I thought there we go. So let me see. Here it is, my new exploring what's possible. And I just closed it. Sorry about that. Let me turn this on. Yeah, you can't see it. It's just, I actually recorded this. Yeah, on a cell phone. In fact, you know what? Hold on. Um, I actually can show you this, and I'll give you commentary on it. It's kind of weird because I'm getting used. There's so many tools for doing stuff right now, and why? Here, let's just get rid of this. This might be more interesting if I can find it. Is this it? No. All right, let's see if I can. I'm going to switch this to something else. Let's try this. I want to. All right, so okay, so you can at least see this, right? And I'm gonna play it and pause it and give a comment. So what you're gonna see here is a non-spreadsheet concept. All right, and I'm preparing this as a short. And so what this is you taking a number like $5 and you're multiplying it times 2. Okay. All right. You see that? Okay, stop. That's doubling your money. Okay. I call that mission 1. In fact, that's the first. Here, listen up. Mission 1 is like the most important thing that anyone that I work with accomplishes. And I have a process I've been working on for 2 years to help people learn how to do it. You can do it with low leverage, no leverage, or high leverage. It doesn't matter, but it's a process. How to do it. The how do I say this? The market will teach you what you need to know. And as the market changes, you will learn new lessons over time. I still learn lessons, and it's been 2 years. But I started making gobs and gobs of money right out of the blocks once I figured a couple basic processes out that I don't know why they're a magic processes because everyone's hung up on doing things the way hedge fund managers have been doing it for decades. And that stuff is valid. It but I don't know, maybe it was my concussion, but I needed a simpler thing. All right. So mission 1, you just witnessed it, right? Remember that? Okay, well, we're gonna continue. All right, times 2. Mission 2 times 2. Mission 3. What does that mean? So you're trading and you're doubling your money, okay? This is kinda what got me excited off and on throughout my life, but I never found a reliable vehicle in a time frame that made sense to me where I could do this. Like, if you're doing the S&P 500 and it's 8%, it takes you 8 years to double your money. Well, if it takes you 8 years to double your money, it's gonna take you 160 years to accomplish what I'm showing you. Or actually just to reach mission. Well, okay, let's just there's still a sound. So what you're seeing here is there's mission 20. That's $5,242,880 starting with $5. And if you don't have $5, that's okay. All right. Yeah, starts with mission 1. So, that was, that was kind of interesting, right? Now, if you have a spreadsheet, let's look at this from a spreadsheet perspective. All right, this is all right. Um, so what's interesting about this to me is the fact that all right, it's a little bit too big. Nope, it's just the way it is. So it's I have a hard time showing this on my screen, but I record this what you're seeing here. I recorded this on. Oh, wait a second, it's playing literally. Wait a second. I recorded this on my cell phone, which I thought was interesting. So what I'm doing here is all right. Let's just stop. Okay. So let me give you this is part of a training that I haven't actually created yet. I did a live stream about it and stuff, but no one could really see the things. I'm working with different tools. So what you're seeing here is I don't know how long it's going to take you to complete a mission 1. Are you doing it with no leverage? Are you doing it with a bot? Are you doing it with cryptocurrency? Are you doing it with Bitcoin? Are you doing it with Ethereum? Are you doing it with a highly volatile because we need volatility in order to get those ROIs, right? And I've got spreadsheets I've created that are guides for how to do these different things. Anyway, you figure out how you want to start. And I usually recommend like Ethereum. Actually, there's 2 different ways of doing it. So Ethereum, if you're doing low leverage, and maybe Bitcoin for higher leverage stuff. It doesn't really matter. You can actually there's 2 different skill sets here. One is like hyperactive trading, right? That's a certain way of looking at the market and the patterns that's going on. And then there's kind of more of like a swing trading or I call trap trading, which takes a little bit at the larger cycles that are happening. And so like uh I call it mission 1. Um the first time I did this, I think I started with like $30 backed up by 60, $90. But anyway, to turn the $30 into $60 took 59 days, 0 trading losses. Now when I add leverage, okay. Now when I that first mission, I actually had leverage. I had 3x leverage, which is probably forbidden us as US citizens technically, unless you get a back door somewhere and there's only a few places left where you can do that. Um, with high leverage, I was able to complete mission 1 in 6 days. And instead of starting with $30, I started with 0, and they loaned me $5 on the exchange. And I actually, in 6 days, traded up to just under $18. I almost completed mission 2, but my time ran out, and they took the $5 back, and they took, like, half of my trading results. It was like dealing with Guido. I was really annoyed. So, that's why leverage is important. But I'm told, "Oh, well, your U.S. citizen, we wanna protect you. You shouldn't have access to leverage because 'cause you're not sophisticated. You're not already wealthy. In fact, to operate in the crypto space, you need to have $10 million of liquid assets or some crazy thing." And I'm like, "Give me my freedom and liberty to pursue happiness, you bunch of already rich jerks." Um, I mean, if 8% ROI in the S&P 500, right? That's really, just to let's see, 8%, 8 years, right? It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. All right, let's watch this a little bit. I have to figure out a way of maybe switching cameras so I can just do this on my thing. So I put in $5, and all right, what this is showing you is this taking like a 90-day time frame to double your money, right? So, all right. So, what does this mean? So, in order to become a millionaire, it would take you, if you started on March 1st, 2023, it took you 90 days to complete every mission. In order to complete mission 18, which is where you cross that $1 million mark, what is it? That's August. So that's 4.5 years. And you're like, "Oh, that's 4.5 years, David. That's a long time." Well, do you have a better plan? Most people have no plan, because what's available to you legally and ethically and blah, 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 by playing by the rules that they're enforcing, well, they're not really strictly enforcing it. They're enforcing it on anybody and everybody who doesn't know how to circumvent it right now. And of course, they want you to pay taxes on it unless you're working within an approved vehicle, and I can show folks how to do that. We haven't restricted that yet, at least in terms of enforcement. Not breaking any laws, not doing any of that sort of thing. It's just like, "Oh, you're a US citizen, we don't want you to have access to leverage." Um, yeah, I should put this up here like, 8% S&P 500, the average of the last 20 years. It'd take you over 200 years to become a millionaire with what we're taught to do, trading without leverage. "Oh, that's why you should learn how to do options, David, and Forex, and blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Yeah, well." So now I have a contract that expires. Oh, I'd rather deal with contracts that don't expire. Yeah. So, this video just kind of goes through and shows the missions. And of course, mission 20 is 2028. So that's 5 years from now, $5,242,808. Now, here's the rub. So along the way, when you start after mission 7, unless you're inside of a tax protected account, you have to start paying taxes unless you're already wealthy. Because if you're already wealthy and you don't have W-2 income, your income tax bracket, income tax, is 0. So a wealthy person could do this and pay 0 taxes. I don't know about states and local things or wherever else in the world. I'm talking about US, okay? Or you're homeless and you haven't received any unemployment benefits above $600 to activate a tax bracket. So if you have a 0 tax bracket as a US citizen, everyone who's retired, right? You receive Social Security, you're taxed, right? Like it's your tax as income, right? But if you had no income and you're not in an income tax bracket and your income tax bracket is 0, you then again could probably do this without paying taxes because this is all capital gains. Nice loophole that they used to have, short-term capital gains law. I don't know when they, just tie it to your income tax bracket. Everyone in the world in the United States who's working for a living, oh, well, that sounds fair. Until you realize that, like, billionaires, they don't work for the companies they own. They sell stock when they need money, capital gains, right? Hmm. I always wondered how they got away with paying zero income tax. Well, that's how. Is that fair? No. The GOP shoved it down our throats in collusion with the DNC. They did it together, and it hurts our tax base, and it puts the burden on the working class, and we work for a living. We work to pay rent. We work to buy food. When these folks were taxed 97%, right? They were still millionaires. Did not that those taxes did not impact their day-to-day living or lives. Just saying. All right. So let's take a look at this. God, I know it's slow. So this is designed to be a training video. So we're going to change this to a smaller time frame, 30 days. So if you were to complete a mission in a 30-day cycle, well, let's take a look at this. You crossed the $1 million mark on August 22nd, 2024. Now, here's one thing I've learned. So the markets aren't necessarily steady. So when I'm wanting to learn or create a system for myself or other people, consistency is important. I mean, a bull run, when they happen, it's almost impossible not to make money unless you like really don't know what you're doing. Um, it's almost kind of like a rigged thing. It almost reminds me of the first time I went and played blackjack at a casino. I thought I thought the goal was to hit 21. So I'm sitting there gambling, and within a hand or two my $60 was gone, and everyone's looking at me like I'm crazy. I says, well, I thought the purpose of the game's hit 21. I didn't know what I was doing. True story. Yeah, I should have done a little bit of research. I'm supposed to beat the dealer, and there's basic strategy. I learned that later. But you start, right? I was willing to sit at the table, right? So cryptocurrency is kind of like that too, but you don't need to go to the table with a lot of money. You can go to the table with $5. You can go to the table with $1, and you can learn. In fact, one of my first lessons is called Let's Get Liquidated, and it's a high leverage trading lesson. And it's a game. So right now, probably for less than a quarter, you could play the game of, can I double my money or get liquidated? Can I double my money or get liquidated? It'll cost you probably 20 cents per try. How's that for gamification? Well, unless you're a US citizen, you're technically forbidden to do that. But crypto, why crypto? Well, that's why, because you can learn. You don't have to spend 6 months saving up money to buy some options or some stock and do a financial play, when US government sold Washington Mutual to Chase Manhattan for an 18,000% return, one of the biggest robberies, financial crimes of the history, coordinated by our government, in my opinion, and wiped you out because they violated all sorts of laws under the context of a law that was never used before. But technically, I never got my money back. Who do you sue? Do I sue the government? Well, I'm suing myself, right? Because I am the government, right? I'm a U.S. taxpayer. People sued Chase Manhattan. They said, well, we just bought from the government. They just made it available for sale. We bought it. It was a conspiracy, one of the real ones, right? Because Chase wanted to buy them for like a year, and Washington Mutual said, "Why should we sell you for a year?" They wiped out all the common stockholders. I was born and raised say, "Listen, company goes into bankruptcy, the preferred stockholders get paid first. The common stockholders, all that, bond, all that sort of stuff get paid first, right?" And a bankruptcy court manages that. Well, no, that's not what they did. I think it was the SEC. Anyway, the whatever branch of our government stepped in and sold the assets. I mean, literally, they had an 18,000% increase in their balance sheet gain instantaneously, coordinated by our government. And all the stockholders and the pension holder, they got wiped out. There's people still whining about it. I'm one of those that whine about it. I mean, I spent 6 months, I did everything right, and then I was cheated, and then, and that was fraud. It was a fraud perpetuated by the very people that are supposed to protect me against fraud. So don't tell me about how I shouldn't be able to have access to Binance and leverage and stuff. No, no, no. All right, so, let's keep watching this. So if you can do this on a 10-day cycle, right? Now, is this possible? Well, yeah, it's more than possible. It's more than possible. The issue is when you start getting down to right around here, right? When you start reaching mission 10, $5,000 and greater, somewhere probably around mission 12 to 14, you're going to deal with yourself. Here, let's take a moment here. You're going to deal with your own mind game. Okay. This is why you taking a $3,000 course usually ends up with you getting liquidated, losing thousands and thousands of dollars because you're not ready for those trades. You're not, right? What they want you to do is they want you to put your large dollar amounts with a professionally licensed trained person that makes a gob of money off from small percentages while you make little itty bits of money, which it's great for perpetuating wealth, but not for creating wealth, right? In fact, our entire stock marketing system and banking system is designed to perpetuate the wealth of already wealthy people. And those few people that can become wealthy from trading or whatever, they're overtaxed and they take on and assume huge amounts of risk. And it's a system that's rigged. It's a casino that's rigged against you. I love it when we have an elected leader say, "Oh, cryptocurrency is gambling." It's like, what? Stock market's not. Options aren't. Forex isn't. What are you talking about? Gambling. All right. So if every 10 days, if you can overcome your mind game, and that's a big part of some of the training that I'm working on, is this process, you will actually help overcome the mind game. And if you run into a wall, what do you do when you reach your wall? Well, maybe you diversify. You just start over again and just rebuild and rebuild and rebuild. Not from losses, but just diversify into those safer things, work with bots, whatever. When you reach a plateau where you can't mentally justify going into a $20,000 trade or $35,000 trade or $70,000 trade, right? Or $100,000 trade. I mean, you have to mentally be ready for that. It takes time. It's a process. And why do I know my stuff's good? Because I've got some folks that have spent lots of money like I have on trading courses, and the trading courses are good and they get them started but they run up against the mind game, and then we have to solve problems because the market changes on us and stuff. And then, what do you do when you're used to being able to, make that 1% trades, right, on a regular basis, and suddenly, you can barely, justify going after 3 to 5%. Now, I know it's just like, a little bot, you know, 3 or 5% is so boring to scalp. But you know what? If you do that and compound it, that works too. That's a whole nother spreadsheet, right? Got that. I can show you that. We don't spend the time understanding this stuff. Okay, let's look at if you do it every 3 days, what happens? Can you do it every 3 days? I jokingly say that, if I were ever to become, a homeless person and if one of my priorities would be to keep my cell phone. Maybe not necessarily keep my cell service. As long as I had Wi-Fi, but I had a quality cell phone, and I had nothing better to do during the day other than sit next to somewhere where I have free Wi-Fi and my cardboard sign, I could probably do this. I can teach people how to do this. So, you start reaching, mission 14, April. Well, well, yeah. So from beginning March 1st to $5 million in April 30th. See, so you could do that within sight of a quarter right? And then pay your taxes and you'd be done. You'd be free for life. Becoming a single millionaire isn't enough. You need to make more than that after taxes, before taxes. So this would be something that if you had nothing better to do other than to trade all day long and you took the easy money, okay? And that's the stuff that's happening on the 5 and 15 seconds. So you're in and out of the trade in less than a minute, right? And you just did that. You could be work your way up. Oh, but of course you have to have access to leverage to do it, right? You have to have access to a reliable exchange to be able to do it. So we still have that access as of this recording, and there's several exchanges out there that are just like, meh. U.S. is just the U.S. There's the rest of the world. If U.S. citizens want to be here, we can't KYC you because you're a U.S. citizen, but we don't mind you trading here, but we're going to give you limits, you know, 60 BTC, 200 BTC limit type stuff. That's fine. For most of you, that would revolutionize your finances. See, I don't know how long it takes you to complete a mission one. And, as you do this, your skill goes up. So your timeline to do a mission one accelerates dramatically if you have access. If you're given the freedom. Oh, there's 6 months. So, it would take you to 2033, right? So that's 10 years. Most people will not make $5,242,880 in their lifetime of working 40 hours a week for 40 years. This is this kind of trading and doubling emissions can be accomplished literally when you go to the restroom throughout the day, if you're hydrating properly. Oh, I'm pointing out here that completing mission one creates the basis for guesstimating a timeline based on your actual results. If you can complete mission one, you've proven you can complete any mission. And that's true. That's true. Anyway, so why? Why am I bothering with this? I've got this foolish, crazy idea that we either need to retrain the current ruling elite to stop making decisions based on fear, scarcity, control, and punishment contexts that don't work. Proven not to work, but we continue to do shit that doesn't work. Okay. I mean, Mr. Putin, what are you doing? That concept of what you're doing, feudalistic stupidity. What it's just bad. There's no gain. There was no gain. You weren't a brilliant mind like yours was unable to figure it out, that it was just dumb. But that's what fear, loss. No, and he's already a billionaire. I'm really sick of rich pricks being pricks about controlling the rest of us. I'm tired of this whole gatekeeper complex thing because they're afraid. Yeah. Listen, the pitchforks and the torches will be coming for you if you continue to manufacture poverty and scarcity and struggle when there's no need for it. Humans are becoming educated. Now we got AI, and you can't hide because the AI can process the data and give them a data-driven result, and it's not GPT DNC. I'm sorry if your perspective doesn't add up based on the data-driven research of an advanced algorithm that basically processes the data. No, it's not how it works. People are going to be able to ask the hard questions and they're going to tune out all the news stations because when they want an answer, they don't need some idiot who's already wealthy, who's paid to propagandize a perspective. They're just going to go to an AI and say, what is the truth of this? And the AI coding will be open source. So everybody in the world, including your enemies, can see if it's been tampered with. There's a difference between code where it's hidden away and only the programmers can review the code. And then there's this whole movement that began with cryptocurrency. It's called trustless processing, an open ledger, right? So it can be audited. So malicious code can be, diagnosed, you know, rather than paying ransoms to hackers, there's bounties. Smart governments, smart organizations pay bounties when you find security problems with their code and with their processes. So this fear and scarcity stuff's got to go. So I'm training a new breed of ruling elites. Whether they're already ruling elites would be great. We can teach you about how not to have fear and scarcity of your fellow human beings. Yeah, everyone wants to rob you. The reason why they want to rob you is because you've allowed and created and perpetuate a world where people are literally struggling and surviving or struggling for survival, right? Through what is crafted structural violence against them. And there's racism involved and sexism involved and all sorts of isms and our world's too small for that. You're indigenous to this planet. So yeah, wealthy folks, what are you going to do? Create your own shelter and hide behind everyone knows where you are. Gonna blow up the world and survive? Ooh, who wants to survive that? You guys do, right? You guys don't even know what you're preparing yourselves for. How about we have a new vision for our planet and our species? How about we start respecting each other? How about giving all of us human rights universally, worldwide? Shouldn't I, an indigenous being of this planet, have the right to move anywhere that I want? Shouldn't my human rights and civil rights be protected as just a universal, unalienable right as a human being? Shouldn't just be in the US, right? Should be global. We're indigenous to the United States. I pledge allegiance to the planet Earth, one planet, indivisible, under the creator of all that is, by whatever name trips your trigger. Why are we looking at the unlimited, dividing up the land, saying, "Oh, we got to fight for America, we got to fight for Russia, we got to fight for the motherland, we have to fight for the fatherland"? What about the planet? Didn't your God create it all? Doesn't it own it all? Why does your God need money? Why does your God need an army? Why does your God need this? Why does your God need prophets and this and that and there? It's the needy God syndrome, is what I'm calling it. It's time that we just it started thousands of years ago. It was a great way to justify genocide of other cultures, raping and pillaging, raping being a divine right of the warriors, right? Um, Come on. It's 2023, people. We gotta stop that. So that's kind of why I'm doing all this, because while I'm still here, I've studied this stuff. I started asking questions age 6, and I finally got the answers. Started getting answers about 20 years ago. I figured a lot of stuff out, and I can tell you it'll drive you crazy if you start actually figuring things out based on the data, based on the verifiable facts, based on the non-propaganda. It's kind of creepy. So I want to see if maybe there's enough other people out there who want to break free of these lies and these manipulations, and it's going to take money, because that's how our world works, right? I'm not one of these doomers where they just want to doom the whole system. I think the system's just fine. I think the idea of having methodologies of providing value for exchange of value is great. It's just that we've had dumb people hire very intelligent people to rig the system against everybody else. Yeah, and it's wealthy people out there. You live here too, right? Oh, wow, 1648. Oh, we're climbing. You guys see this? You guys didn't see this. Well, we're talking, and I've got to get ready to go do my work. Let's see if can I do a specific tab? No, I've got to do a window. Can I do this one? Yeah, check this out. Woo! Look at that. This is the 1 minute, 3 minute, and 5 minute. You want to see what that's done to the 15 minute? Here, let's remember what I said it looked like things were going to be going down? Where is it? Here it is. That's it. Turn this on. Look at that. We're going down. We hit the middle Bollinger Band on the 15-minute, and we're bouncing up off that baby. Woo-hoo-hoo. See, this is the unknown, right? So everything's telling us that we wanna here, let me turn myself off here. But people there's no if there was a silver oh, wow, it's leaping up, it's exciting. 1652. Go ahead. Test 1700 before I go to work today, and I'll be a happy camper. My bots will auto exit, and then I can calculate what my average daily rate of return is, and I'm hoping somewhere it'll land somewhere between 2 and 3%. Oh, where's my camera? There's my camera. All right, so I need to go. I know this has probably just been boring, and I apologize for that, but um, I just got to get used to doing this, and this is just going to be a live stream about today. No one's going to watch it past today unless they were watching it live, and I don't. Is anyone watching this live? I don't think there's anybody. Yeah, nobody's watching this live, so what I'm planning on doing, if you are watching this later today, is maybe doing this at night, talking about what might happen the next day when the market's open. Because usually what happens when the market's open in the US happens throughout the day, except for certain anomalies. So anyway, yeah, it's kind of exciting. Yeah, that was a kind of a nice little movement there. All right, too bad I wasn't in a highly active trade for that. All right, buddy. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll stay tuned, tune in, all that sort of stuff.